Look, I've seen heated interviews, I've seen awkward interviews, I've seen interviews that end careers. But what Scott Bessent just did on MSNBC, that was a public economics masterclass, delivered straight to a host who clearly didn't read the homework. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this breakdown because it gets funny, it gets fiery, and at one point, the host basically teaches himself why he was wrong. Before we get into it, do me a quick favor, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss moments like this.
So, Mr. Secretary, amid this discussion of costs and prices and affordability, how does a $20 billion bailout of Argentina help Americans? You're the president's point person on that. Can you explain to those here who are feeling the pinch, including America's farmers, why the United States is helping out Argentina?
Well, do you know what a swap line is?
It's currency swap, yes.
Yes, but what is that?
You're the Treasury Secretary.
Yes, but why would you call it a bailout?
That is how...
In most bailouts, you don't make money. The U.S. government made money. We used our financial balance sheet to stabilize the government. One of our great allies in Latin America, during an election, the president there won in a landslide. The government's going to make money, and I would rather use peace through economic strength than have to be shooting at narco boats coming offshore if the government collapsed. We have a generational opportunity in Latin America to create allies. We just saw an election in Bolivia. We're probably going to see an election in Colombia. We've seen them in Ecuador. We're going to see them in Chile. So by stabilizing the economy there and making a profit, then that's a very good deal for the American people. And there's a lot we could have been doing for American farmers, but Democrats closed the government.
So how has the United States made money off of this? And you talk about trying to make more regional relationships. The United States is shooting alleged narco boats in international waters off the coast of Venezuela. The United States has not provided evidence yet that those are indeed drug traffickers. So how are these two things working in tandem?
We are preempting the collapse of a government and going back to a Peronist agenda and a left-wing government. What if somebody had raised their hand and said, look at what's happening with Hugo Chavez, look at what's happening with Maduro, and they help the opposition there?
Yeah, hey, Mr. Secretary, I'm just curious, just to clarify, have we made our money back already from the Argentina bailout or the swap line or whatever you call it? Have we made that money back now? Are you saying we're going to make that money back from them over time? Like, what's the payout for that?
Joe, we already have a profit on that swap line.
So have we given them? Did we transfer $20 billion and we've already gotten back?
Absolutely not. We made a line of credit available, and a small amount of it was drawn on, and we have made a profit on that.
Let's talk about the piling on effect right now. And some of the challenges that you're going to face, the president's going to face, anybody in office is going to face about affordability. So if inflation went up, let's say 9% under Joe Biden, it came down to 3%, right? And let's say it's still kind of chugging along at 2 or 3% right now. The problem is people are comparing today with what they were paying in 2019. And so people may say they want prices to plummet and go down, but actually the challenge there is the last thing you want is deflation. So how do you explain that even if you slow down inflation to, let's say, 2%, 1.5%, 2%, which would be great, Americans are still going to look back and think of the good old days before COVID, before inflation, before all of these things hit. You know what I'm saying? There's going to always be sort of this stacking price. Things are always going to be more expensive unless you have deflation, but it's the last thing you want, right?
Well, Joe, you can have disinflation and you can have some goods deflating. We want energy prices to deflate.
Right.
I think there's some food items that can deflate. But as I said before, there are with the affordability, there are two components. There's price, and then there's real wage gains. And Americans are going to look back and think that under President Trump's first term, they saw very substantial wage gains, especially for working Americans and the average household. So I think they're going to look back to that. And again, Steve Ratner's charts very conveniently got truncated in 2020 on that.
So the segment kicks off with the MSNBC host trying to corner Bessent with a classic gotcha question about inflation. He starts confidently rattling off numbers like he's unveiling some grand conspiracy. Inflation went up. Inflation came down. Why aren't Americans happy? And Bessent calmly explained, inflation going from 9% down to 3% doesn't magically erase the price hikes. Prices don't bounce backward like a yo-yo, they stack. But the host? He looks at Bessent like he just explained quantum physics to a houseplant. If you're loving this breakdown, hit that subscribe button real quick. Bessent told him straight, affordability isn't just about prices. It's about real wage gains, what people actually feel in their pockets. And then he point out the part MSNBC conveniently avoids. Under Trump's first term, real wages for working Americans climbed, and suddenly the host's confidence deflates faster than a balloon at a kid's birthday party. He starts shuffling papers like the answers are hidden somewhere between the margins. Spoiler, they weren't. Then comes the moment everyone came for. The host dramatically asks about the $20 billion bailout of Argentina, as if Bessent just wrote Argentina a personal check from my Venmo. Bessent literally laughed because he clearly doesn't understand what a currency swap line is. He says, it's a bailout. Bessent say, no it's not. He says, but why? Bessent say, because we made money. At this point, he's teaching basic economics on national television, for free, to a grown man, who gets paid to talk about economics. If that isn't worth a subscribe, I don't know what is. This is the best part. Bessent explained, we didn't hand Argentina $20 billion. We extended a credit line. They only drew a small portion. And the U.S. already made a profit. You can literally see the host's face change from aha to oh no. It's like watching someone argue that 2 + 2 = 5 and then discovering math in real time. He tries to pivot away, but it's too late. The viewers saw it. Bessent saw it. He definitely felt it. By the end, he was explaining the bigger strategy, stabilizing allies in Latin America, preventing government collapses, strengthening U.S. influence. Meanwhile, he's still stuck on square one like, but so, we made a profit. Yes, we made a profit. And yes, you just learned Economics 101 on live television. Before we wrap up, tap that subscribe button. We break down interviews like this all the time, so that's how it went down. A host trying to dunk on Scott Bessent, only to get dunked on, blocked, and sent home with a free economics lesson. If you enjoyed this takedown, hit like, drop a comment, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a moment when someone on cable news accidentally teaches themselves economics on air. See you in the next one.